The music was too loud for a lie that big. Glasses clinked. Someone laughed too hard. The room smelled like wine and perfume and borrowed happiness. I was standing beside her when she said it. Like a joke. Like a flex. Like she'd rehearsed it in her head and waited for witnesses. "I could leave you right now," my wife laughed, eyes glittering, chin lifted. Her friends froze for half a second. Long enough. I looked at her smile. Wide, careless, certain. I nodded once. Then I said it. Calm. Clear. Then get out. The room didn't breathe after that. Music kept playing, but it sounded distant. Like it belonged to another life. She blinked. Once. Twice. Waiting for the punchline that never came. Her laugh died in her throat. Someone shifted uncomfortably. Someone else looked at the floor. I didn't raise my voice. Didn't explain. Didn't defend myself. I just watched her realize, slowly, that I meant it. That moment didn't start the end. It exposed it. Because the truth is, I'd already been standing in silence with her for months, watching her drift, watching her phone light up and tilt away from me, watching her become a woman who smiled at rooms instead of me. I told myself it was stress. Work, friends, life. Men like me always try to be reasonable while being replaced. It was the little things first. Her laughter changing pitch when certain names came up. Her hand tightening around her phone like it held oxygen. Her sudden interest in looking single when she thought I wasn't watching. I never confronted her. I adjusted. I learned her patterns. Counted the pauses between messages. Noticed how she showered the moment she came home on nights. She said she was just with friends. The worst part wasn't suspicion. It was how calm I felt while it grew. Because deep down, something in me already knew. And once you know, truly know, panic becomes pointless. Panic is for people who still believe in rescue. I started paying attention instead of hoping. I memorized her tells. The way she avoided eye contact when she lied. The way she over-explained harmless things and went silent about dangerous ones. I didn't need proof yet. I needed timing. That party wasn't an accident. It was her testing gravity, seeing how far she could lean before I disappeared. She thought humiliation would weaken me. Public laughter. Private control. What she didn't understand was this. I had already let go of the version of her I loved. All that was left was observation. When I told her to get out, I wasn't angry. I was confirming something. And as the silence swallowed the room and her, friends watched her scramble for dignity. I saw it clearly for the first time. She wasn't holding power over me anymore. She was standing on a floor I had already decided to remove. I didn't follow her when she stormed out of that room. That was the first thing she didn't expect. People like her believe silence is weakness, that distance means regret, that if they walk away loudly enough, someone will chase them just to restore balance. I stayed. I finished my drink, thanked the host, nodded at faces that suddenly wouldn't meet my eyes. Control isn't loud. It's what remains when noise fails. That night, she didn't come home. I noticed the absence the way you notice a missing limb. Not with panic, but with a cold recalibration of reality. I slept anyway. Deeply. The kind of sleep you get when your mind has already made its decision. By morning, I had a plan. I didn't check her phone. Didn't accuse. Didn't ask where she'd been. Instead, I watched. I watched her return the next evening. Hair washed, story prepared. She smelled like someone else's soap. Not a mistake. Just unfamiliar enough to register. "You embarrassed me," she said first. An attack. Defensive. Predictable. I let her speak. Let her stack excuses like sandbags against a flood. Inside, I was cataloging. She avoided specifics. Used vague time frames. Overcorrected with affection later, like a criminal returning to the scene. That's when I knew this wasn't new, so I began quietly removing myself from the equation. I stopped reacting, stopped asking questions she had rehearsed answers for, stopped filling emotional gaps she'd created to keep control. Instead, I filled notebooks, dates, times, patterns. I requested phone records under the guise of a billing issue. I cross-referenced numbers that appeared too often, too late. One stood out, not saved, but familiar. A number she never answered in front of me. I didn't call it yet. I watched her schedule change. Her sudden late meetings. Her defensive irritation when I didn't ask where she was going. Guilt hates indifference. She started slipping. Left her laptop open one night. Not messages. She was smarter than that. A calendar, entries that didn't align with her stories. Lunches that lasted 4 hours. Work trips with no expense reports. I hired no one. Installed nothing. I let her reveal herself. The confirmation came quietly. A hotel receipt buried in a shared cloud folder she forgot I had access to. 1 room, 1 bed, 2 nights. Same dates as her conference. I stared at the screen longer than necessary. Not because it hurt, because something inside me finally went still. There it was. Clean, undeniable. No room for doubt to hide. I closed the file, shut the laptop, went and made coffee. She came into the kitchen smiling, trying again. Touching my arm like it still belonged to her. I let her. Because the most devastating moment isn't when the truth is discovered. It's when the person who was betrayed stops caring whether the betrayer knows they're caught. And I wasn't ready to show my hand yet. Not until everything was in place. I waited 3 days after I found the receipt. Not because I needed time. Because she did. People unravel faster when they think they're winning. I became gentle. Attentive, predictable. I listened to her. Stories without interrupting. Smiled at the right moments. Let her believe the party had rattled me into submission. That's when she made her mistake. She relaxed. Left her phone face down instead of locked away. Took calls in the next room without lowering her voice enough. Started planning things, future things. Assuming I'd still be there to fund them. Support them, absorb them. I scheduled dinner. Just us. Neutral ground. A place with soft lighting and no witnesses. She thought it was reconciliation. I arrived early. Ordered water. Sat with my back straight and my mind empty. When she walked in, she smiled like she'd already won something back. Halfway through the meal, while she was talking about a trip she wanted to take, I reached into my jacket and placed my phone on the table. Face up. No drama. No anger, just a single screenshot. The hotel receipt. She stopped mid-sentence. The fork hovered, then trembled. Her eyes scanned the screen once, twice, like rereading might erase it. Explain, she said. I shook my head. No, I replied. You explain. Silence expanded between us, heavy, suffocating. Her mouth opened, then closed. Her hand went to her glass and missed. She whispered his name. That was enough. I leaned back, finally letting my voice drop. Steady, controlled, precise. I know how long it's been. I know where you went. I know you planned your exits and rehearsed your lies. Pause. I just wanted to see how long you'd keep pretending I was stupid. Her eyes filled. Real tears this time. Not the performative kind. I didn't mean to. I raised a finger. No explanations. You already spent those. I slid the phone back into my jacket. I'm done, I said. But here's what's going to happen next. She looked up, desperate now. You're moving out tonight. I've already spoken to a lawyer. I've separated accounts. Your access ends at midnight. Her breathing broke. You can tell people whatever you want, I continued. But if you lie about me, I release everything. Her face drained of color. I stayed quiet long enough to document the truth, I said softly. Don't confuse my silence for mercy. I stood, paid, left her sitting there with a future collapsing in slow motion. Outside, the night air felt clean. Not because I was free, but because I finally stopped carrying someone else's guilt. She moved out that night. Not with dignity. With boxes shoved together. Drawers half empty. A life reduced to what could be carried before midnight. I didn't help. I sat on the couch while she moved through the house like a ghost, touching walls as if they might remember her. Every sound echoed louder than it should have. Cardboard scraping. Zippers breaking. Her quiet sobs when she thought I couldn't hear. I heard everything. I felt nothing. That was the moment I understood the real end had already happened long before the party. Long before the hotel. Long before the lies she laughed about in front of strangers. It ended the day I stopped asking myself why. When the door finally closed behind her, The silence didn't feel empty. It felt accurate. Days passed. Then weeks. I learned the shape of my own mornings again. Coffee without tension. Evenings without explanations. Sleep without suspicion crawling under my skin. She tried to reach out, first with anger, then guilt, then nostalgia. Messages about good memories, about how people make mistakes, about how love isn't perfect. I didn't respond. Not because I was strong, because I was done translating lies into something survivable. Mutual friends chose sides without asking me what happened. I let them. Truth doesn't need a defense when it's patient. Eventually, stories crack under their own weight. I heard she moved in with him. I heard it didn't last. I heard she asked about me. I never asked back. Revenge wasn't watching her fall. Revenge was realizing I no longer needed to witness it. One night, months later, I stood in the same room where she'd laughed and tested her power. The furniture was different. The air lighter. No echoes. I replayed the moment in my head. Not with rage, but with clarity. I could leave you right now. She had been right. She just didn't understand that leaving doesn't always mean survival. Some exits erase you. I didn't win. I didn't lose. I ended something that was slowly trying to erase me. And the last thing I felt for her wasn't hate, wasn't love. It was nothing.